Hey crafty people, welcome back to my channel, and in case you're new here, I'm Sarah, also known as Craft Nerd because I'm a nerd who loves to craft. I do paper crafting, card making, junk journaling, and mixed media art. Let's get crafting! Oh, welcome to my channel. So for today's project half done, or Crafting P.H.D., we are going to work on some half finished gel prints. I was watching a video by Darcy at Darcy's Misadventures in Mixed Media where she was trying to finish off some of her near empty paint tubes. So I decided to do that. And it's not quite 150 pages, but almost 150 painty papers that need work on them. So that's what we're going to be playing with today. I've got my 8x10 gel plate out because that's the biggest one I have. One of these days I'm probably going to get a bigger one so that I can do 8.5x11 papers in one go. But for now, that's my biggest gel plate. And I think for this one, which is giving wintry vibes, it's like a light gray with, I think, champagne metallic paint in it. I want to do, I've got PM Artist Studios Birch Trees stencil. And I just keep going back and forth as to what I want to do. Whether I think what I'm going to do is put paint down. I think I'm going to do a blend of dark blue and like a medium gray, because those are two bottles I'm trying to finish up. I found a few more that I'm close to finishing. So we're going to try that color, and I'm going to roll it out. Stencil down. I'm gonna grab a piece of packing paper. Of course, this is not exactly the right size, and I'm gonna lift up the paint between. Lift this up, and I'm actually gonna put it down on a piece of paper I have behind me. Not much came off on that, and then let's see if we can manage to have not waited too long and still be able to pull it up onto our paper. Let's see. Oh yeah. Oh, I kind of like that. I kind of like how that came out. Okay, I think I'm going to do one or two more. Actually, what I may do is grab a lighter color and pull this up on a separate paper. Let's try that. Just going to put a little white on here. Roll that out. I have some blue on brayer, which I'm okay with. I'm not sure if what was left on the plate is dry enough, but we'll just give it a try. I kind of treat gel printing like a fun adventure, and I hopefully will get some good results, and if not, I can still play around with the paper some more. And this is Hammermill 32-pound premium color copy paper, because that's what I grabbed. Where'd that go? Kind of cool. I'm not mad at that. I am not mad at that. Let's put more paint on and do another round with the birch stencil. More paint on. And I've got a 5x7 off to the side that I'm using as kind of like a palette. And I think I may add a dot of silver to this. Ooh. Or a big glob of silver. That is way too much silver. Given that we're going on top. You know what? Let's do this on... I've got some dark blue. Let's see what happens if we do mostly silvery blue on top of this guy. And see... Let me just see what I've got in the dark blue ones. I think it will work better on the darker. I'm using packing material because it's nice and thin, so I can get in between the apertures of the stencil fairly easily. Let's see what we get on this guy. All right, it's faintly there, but it wasn't light enough to really show up on this background, so not as successful as the first one. Let's go ahead and do another white, and I'm actually going to use some of that. We can get an interesting pull of what's left on the plate. Kind of wondering what would happen if I did it with white and the stencil. So maybe we'll do one more with the stencil before moving on to some other techniques. Not too much pattern showing on that. Kind of using it to clean off the palette I've got going to the side. Because why not? All right, one more stencil-y one with just the white going on. Not sure why it's beating up like that. All right, that didn't do a whole heck of a lot other than lighten this up. Oh, holy. I mean, if I tilt it just right, I can see the birch tree pattern, but yeah. Let's see. What do I want to do now? Let's try and clean up what we've got on there, and I'm just going to use the dark blue, which quite frankly isn't very dark. Like, that does not scream dark blue to me. Definitely still have the metallic bits in here. All right, let's roll a little bit more paint out and try and get the edges on this one covered. I'm gonna clean up the 5x7 I have to the side to get the rest of these edges. Whole point of this is to finish off backgrounds instead of creating new blank backgrounds. But that's all right. I really like playing with my gel plate, so if I create a bunch more backgrounds, just more fun to play with later. All right. Let's move on, although I do want to do another one of these, and I definitely want to do something dark on it. And I am still feeling wintry. That dark blue is not as dark as I would like. Pulling out Goodnight Blue and a gloss. I really like this one because it's a nice dark blue. It can be a little gloopy. Alright, and this is a technique I got from Darcy at Mixed Media, at Darcy's Misadventures in Mixed Media, and it's ghost printing. So this is another PM Artist Studio stencil. I'm just set that aside and then pull this up. Hoping this was wet enough of a paint that it'll work, because I think this will look really cool. Yeah. Nuts. I got some of it. And it is kind of cool where I did get it up, but I did not get as much up as I would like. All right, we're probably going to try doing a little bit more in that blue on this, but I want to pull this, and I'm going to grab a cream because I really like this color with cream. I need some vanilla ice cream. Ooh, I really like the look of that. I really like how that came out. That is a really cool background. All right, let's set that one aside. Let's try this again. And I've got like a weird bubble. Let's see. I think actually I'm gonna do it off to the side. And I'm gonna add a little glazing medium to it, which should thin it out just a little bit. So, Liquitex glazing medium. I'm kind of mixing it together off on the palette to the side, or the gel plate. Yeah, I think it's gonna work better this time, and I think I may grab another sheet. I'll definitely get more blue on there. Not sure that I like how that one came out. Give that a second to dry. And what I'm gonna do is, I still got stuff on my 5x7. We're gonna add a little bit more of this, the blue, to this piece. And I'm gonna use, I got teeny tiny bubble wrap. Let's add a little of that. Then I'm gonna use I think this is a takeout cup. Taking most of that off onto. Yeah, I don't think I've got any left on the plate. I think it's a lot of it's ended up back on the brayer. Not sure I love the bubble wrap. I think I probably should have just gone with the circles. And I'm going to set that one aside for now, and we may come back to it. That didn't work at all either. All right. Let's add some more of that vanilla ice cream. Interesting. All right, what I think I'm gonna do, what do I have on here? Am I gonna be able to pull up any of that? No. But I've got my 5x7 off to the side, which has some of the blue left over on it. So I'm going to add some of the vanilla to it and try and pull enough color to get all of our edges done. Got most of the edges covered. Definitely a lighter colors in the center. And I think I want to play with this a little bit more before we switch. And I'm just trying to decide what I want to use on it. Let's try a little white. Adding circles. This one is almost done. I'm gonna let it dry and then we'll come back to it. I got another PM Artist Studio stencil. I'm trying to decide. I think we're just gonna risk leaving it as it is. I've got a green paint that I'm trying to finish off and some green prints in here that could use some interest. Whoa, that was way more paint than I wanted. All right. We're gonna try it and see how it goes. I think I still have too much paint on here, but let's just wing it. This is another PM Artist Studio stencil. Kind of wondering if I should grab another piece of this and do one more of these before I try pulling the color. Let's see how it does on this. That came out pretty cool. Kind of like that. There's still stuff on here that it's wet enough. So let's go ahead and again use our vanilla ice. Interesting. I want to kind of use this one to do the ghost printing too. So let's pull out another green. Let's do this one. See what darker green ghost printing on that looks like. Interesting. Let's put this one back over because I think it's dry enough, and whatever wasn't dry I now have on my hands. I want to grab some black. All right, I'm gonna be right back because I need something. Okay, so what I did was I got a dish off to the side because I want to do some stamping. We're going to try in black, and I'm hopefully going to like it in black. And I've grabbed Tim Holtz Stampers Anonymous Swirly Snowflakes CMS 319. And then the reason I grabbed a dish of water is because if you stamp with paint, you're going to want to clean off your stamps right away. You do not want paint drying on your stamps. It's going to ruin your stamps. So I'm just going to stick that on a block. I'm trying out a new desk setup, so every once in a while, I just did it today, and I keep going to look for things in the wrong spot because I move stuff around. All right, I'm just spraying out some black paint on my 5x7 off to the side so I can dip my stamp into it. And then stamp on there. It's very subtle. Add a little bit more black. Stamping that one again. That's a little bit more noticeable. All right, I'm going to toss that into my dish of water and grab a different stamp from that set. I think I may clean them off and do some in white as well. And then I think this one will be done. Let's do one more of these towards the center. And then I'm going to pull in white. I think I'm going to call that one done. Although I'm just thinking about possibly pulling in some black again and doing a few circles in black. Now I think we're going to call this one fully done. Yay! We got one fully done today. All right, let's take a look at what else we've been working on and see if any of those need some black. This one I'm actually going to declare done as it is. I really like how this looks. I don't want to do anything else to it. I'll probably trim it down and use it on something. So I'm going to call that one done. I'm thinking a little bit of black on this one. Might not be a bad idea. And I think I'm going to grab... I got this and this at the dollar store in their like party supply section. So they're like little dessert cups and shot glasses and things like that. But I like using them to make marks. Also gonna grab a piece of corrugated cardboard I've got and add some lines. I think that did not do much of anything. There's some lines. All right. I am gonna grab. Let's see, what are you? You are just. Because I don't feel like waiting for those globs of paint to dry. We're just gonna kind of thin them out. Ooh, or cause them to go globby. Actually, I'm not mad at that. think what I want to do is actually pull some more of the dark green in with a stamp. And this is, I'm grabbing a P.H.D.s Studio foam stamp. And I'm hoping it's going to show up because I think the green that ended up being on here is lighter than the green straight from the tube, possibly. Not exactly. I like that idea though. So let's darken this green a little bit. I'm going to put just a dot of black in. Bucket. I'm gonna let my dog out and then I'll be right back. I decided before cleaning up the green, like that dark green, I'd add some to this cleanup page. And this is another P.H.D.s Studio stamp. I actually think I'm gonna call this one done. All right, I'm trying to see, is there anything else? All right, this one I'm gonna consider done. At least, yeah, for now. There's nothing else I want to do to that one. All right, I think I'm gonna do a little bit more of the leaf stamping, but I think I'm gonna do it in the vanilla ice. So we can bring, I keep saying ice cream. So we can bring not quite white, but almost white in. All right, I think we're gonna call that one done. This one I like. I'm not gonna do anything else to. This one definitely needs some more something. This was our cleanup sheet. That needs some stuff done to it. Let's see what else. And then we've got, I mean, that one's a cleanup sheet that I think I'm just gonna set aside. That's just a hot mess of a cleanup sheet. All right, so these guys all need a little bit more. But none of them need the color that's currently out. So let's clean that up. All right, this one, I'm trying to decide. All right, I'm putting out some pearl white. And still feeling very wintry. I think I might grab out the Snowflakes and stamp with them again. That pearl white is way too light. That is not going to show up at all. Let's add some regular white to it. Put that aside and pull over this one and do a few snowflakes on that one while I've got it out. I'm honestly thinking I've got this guy. We haven't played with it all today, but I think I want to add some white snowflakes. And now I've pulled out Mr. Frosty CMS 499 because I need some smaller snowflakes to kind of fill in on this one and that one. Size smaller. Let's grab a smaller block because it'll be easier to use. Just fill in a few more spots and then these two will be done. I think I'm gonna call that one done. This one I want to bring some dark into. This one, I don't know what I want to do. This one I think, I don't know what I want to do with this one. I think the problem is, this is messing with my brain. So I think I'm going to set this aside for now because I don't have, well, I guess I could do this and trim this down to get rid of the gold pieces and then just save those to do stuff with later. That is not even a little bit straight. Now I can, like, less messing with my head. I think we're gonna try doing some dark, and I think I'm debating right now black. Let's start with this guy. And yes, I think what I'm gonna do is not clean up the plate, put some black down and mix it with the white and metallic white that's on there and see what color we get. Mostly it's black because I guess the white's mostly dry. It's not really lightening much. And what I want to do, see if my homemade circly or swirly stamp will work. Alright, I think we're going to call this one done. Now, for these two, let's bring this one back over. I definitely want to do some dark on here. I think what I'm going to do is actually add some more of that dark blue to the black I already have out. tempted to try skimming this on, but I'm also worried it's gonna go horribly wrong. Let me grab a piece I can test this on, like this. Well, I'm not mad at that, but that's got texture that this doesn't. What happens if I do that? Ooh, kind of like that. All right, let's try that. All right, I think this has got more interest than it did before. I'm going to set that aside. We're going to pull this one over and try and decide what we want to put on here. That did very little on there. I'm going to call this one done. Let's try adding some black. I don't know what. Get black out. We're going to try using a silk flower. Did not get enough paint on this. That did not work at all. All right, so we're gonna go to bottle caps. Now that I've added the black circles, I kind of want white, maybe gold. That's the answer. Maybe some gold circles. So we're going to set that one aside and try and get this one done, and then pull out some gold for some gold circles. Now this needs white. So much for trying to, you know, like do black and then do white, and I have to go back and forth a gazillion times. All right, I'm using teeny tiny bubble wrap, and then I've got other sizes of bubble wrap. So we're going to do a variety of white bubble wrap on here, which I had to rescue this from my dog because it was in a, I've got a tub I keep all of my mark making stuff in, and yeah, he came along and stole it. All right, so we've got small bubble wrap. Normal size bubble wrap. And then I've got some jumbo bubble wrap. I think this is at a stage of being done where it can be cut up and stuff can get done on top of it. Like, it doesn't need anything else now. So that just leaves this one that we wanted to add some gold to. Okay, that did not do anything. Let's add more to the plate. And actually, I think I'm gonna mix the gold with some of the vanilla ice cream because that's a little thicker of a paint than this gold. I think I want more gold in that mix. All right, I'm gonna call this one done. I think I'm gonna skim the gold across the top of this. Kind of like that. Do I have anything else lying around as like a cleanup sheet I can skim some of that gold onto? Let's see what happens if I do it on this. All right, I think we're gonna call it good for today. Dropping stuff around. So let's take a look at what we got done. All right, so we got a lot of wintry ones done. We got this one done and that one, which is probably still wet, so let's not put stuff on top of it. And that one, and that one. And that was a cleanup sheet, so just added to my total of ones. That one, and that one, and then that one. And then we did do a couple greens. And I think that's everything. I forgot about this one. Okay, so that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please do all the things that lets YouTube know you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for joining me, and happy crafting.